What is going on, everybody? It is Nidge here, and welcome to episode 12 of our Real Betis career mode save. And today, well, what can I say about today's episode? In this episode we've got great goalkeeping displays, we've got horrendous refereeing decisions, and we even managed to somehow break FIFA. But I'll quickly let you know what we've got in the game match-wise. We've got first of all the second leg of our Spanish Cup game against Espanyol. We follow that up with a league game against Osasuna. Follow that up with a game against the Real Sociedad, and then the last game of the episode is a big game against the Real Madrid. As you remember, Real Madrid was our first game of the series and we lost 3-0, so I really wasn't looking forward to that too much. But in this first game against Espanyol, we'd won the first leg 1-0 if my memory serves me to be correct, and I've mentioned it before and I'll mention it again. I'm not too fussed about the cup competitions, but we do seem to be going quite well in them. In Europe we're through to the next round, as you saw a couple of episodes ago, so as long as we're in them I'll keep on playing. But you'll see again, as you see, you've seen in all my cup lineups, I like to rest all my main players and just try out some of the younger players and some of the players that wouldn't get as much game time, just to get a bit of the fitness back. So it is useful for that, I suppose, but like I say, I'm not super fussed about it if I'm being honest. We will actually today also be having the very first player of the episode that I keep on talking about. Like I'm sure if you didn't see this, it's in the live com against Barcelona. I think I spoke about it. But I was thinking about doing a player of the month, but I mentioned in that episode, like I say, it's a bit complicated to do that one because when you're playing FIFA career mode, it's so difficult to just keep track of the months, or it is for me at least anyway. It's something that I just don't tend to pay much attention to, so I decided instead to do a player of the episode, in which I just, as you'll be used to by now, I tend to do between 3 or 4 games an episode, so we'll just pick out who's been the best player for those 3 or 4 games. Easier for me to manage, and I think it's a nicer format as well. Gives you a chance for a few different players to get it, and yeah, we're going to be doing the first one of those at the end of today's episode. And as you've just seen, we drew 0-0 against Espanyol, and that did put us through into the next round of the Spanish Cup. And the game against Real Sociedad after this game is actually in the Spanish Cup, so that was in the next round. But first we had this game against Osasuna in the league, and we go 1-0 down after 21 minutes, but that does not tell the story of this game at all. We were so dominant, and it was one of those games where we were just putting chances wide, and the Osasuna keeper, I don't know who he is, but he was having the absolute game of his life. You'll see here's an example of a good chance, and that's just me being bad, just putting that more, but it's one of those games where I just couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo, as Chris Kamara would say. But there's the first big save that the keeper makes. That's a really good save. I mean, 9 times out of 10 that is in. And then this chance here sums up the game as well a little bit. Video gets one shot away, blocked, tries for another one, and it's blocked again. And if it wasn't the keeper making great saves, it was the defence playing heroically. It was really, really tough game, this one was. And I'll show you the league table before the next league game against Real Madrid, but it's getting really tight there for that top 4 spot, and the last top 4 spot. So we can't afford to be dropping points against this kind of team, and we do keep on peppering away, and we will eventually get a goal, and it comes here in about the 63rd minute from a corner. We do seem to be scoring a lot of corners lately, but from my point of view, who gives a damn? As long as we're scoring, I don't care. If it's a sweaty corner goal, I will take it, especially in a game like this where, like I said, we were really struggling to beat this goalkeeper. But we scored that in about the 65th minute, and then we just couldn't get another one. We popped forward all the way to the 90th minute here, right before the end of the game, and this is the best chance we had after that, and it was a strike from Cedric, pretty much straight at the keeper that he manages to pour away. And look at the stats there, they had one shot and they scored it, and that is the kind of game that, like I say, that's why we need a striker in January, because in that kind of game you need someone to be taking the chances, and he just, I don't know, we just don't seem to be doing it sometimes. But we'll move on to this Real Sociedad game in the Cup, and I've decided that Real Sociedad are the Aston Villa of the Spanish League. And what I mean by that is they're the team that I hate playing against. I really struggle against them. I don't know what it is. Put me up against Real Madrid, Barcelona, I can put in a really good performance, and if I lose, it's not through playing badly, it's just through being a bit unlucky. You can understand that against those big teams because they've got the players that make the difference. But not that Real Sociedad are a bad team, but they're a team that I really seem to struggle against. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but we played them earlier on in the league a few episodes ago, and they beat us 2-0. And that was a real crunch match as well, because they're one of the teams that are vying for 4th place. So that was a really big crunch match, and they managed to beat us 2-0. And in that game we played really well and just couldn't score. And it was similar again here. The keeper making some good saves. We defended again okay at this point, but then they just seemed to pick their way through and go 1-0 up. They were even playing a weakened bloody team in this match because it was the Cup. They were doing the same had the same idea as me, resting a few of the main players, so it wasn't even a full strength team from Real Sociedad, but they still managed to pick the way through there. Really nice goal, finishes it off well, but we do manage to go one better than we did in the league campaign, because we flick it over the top here to Dos Santos and he volleys that in really nicely. Nice to see him getting a goal, one of probably our biggest signing that we made at the start of the season, but he's not featured as much as I'd like him to, so it's nice to see when he does come in that he can do well. And I actually played him in the cam position in this game, which isn't a position that it says he can play, but he's got decent passing stats, so I thought we'll give him a go there, trying to feed in the strikers, and managed to get a nice tidy volley himself there. But how we held on for so long in this game, I do not know. I actually think Real Sociedad hit the post in this game 3 or 4 times. It was absolutely crazy. A decent effort from Molina there. I flicked it back over past the other defender and thought I'm just going to release the Kraken here, and it didn't quite turn out how I wanted it to. And there they go, hit the post again, straight back into my keeper's arms. And at this point I was thinking we could win this. It's just one of them games where, as I was playing it, I was thinking they can't score. You'll see here, I pass it out, really bad error, and even from here, hits one post, grazes off the other post, and then we managed to clear it, and it was like no matter what I was doing, they couldn't score. So I thought I might have a chance at, pardon me, snatching the game. I got a can of Dr Pepper next to me, so I'm all fizzed up, but they do eventually get the goal, unfortunately for us, finished by the little man Carlos Vela after a nice tidy run from a player that they bought off the bench. I can't remember what his name was, but it's the same player that scores the last goal for them. He did really well off the bench, and was a bit disappointed, but as I say, I can't grumble. They really deserved this win. They absolutely played me off the park. It was almost the opposite of that game that we played just against Osasuna, where they just dominated, but they took their chances. I don't know why our keeper came out there. He just completely rushed the man on the wing, and then he left an easy cutback. But we do lose the game 3-1. Thankfully, it is in the cup, and like I've mentioned before, I'm not too fussed about the cup. You'll see in the stats there, they absolutely played us off the park. But then, disaster strikes, because we go to continue, and it just wouldn't get past this screen. I don't know what was going on. You'll see I fast forwarded it quite a bit here, and it still lasts a long time. We just couldn't get past this screen. It completely glitched out, and in the end I had to turn off FIFA, turn off the Xbox, start it all up again. And because it hadn't saved, thankfully I'd saved before this game, because if I hadn't, that would have been even worse. But I'd saved before this game, so I just had to keep on simming it until I got a sort of similar result. And I kept on getting 1-1 draws in the sims, and I got beat 5-1 when I simmed it. But eventually, we do get the 3-1 defeat from when we sim the game, which is nice. So we're in exactly the same situation that we were in before. The only difference is that Jonathan Dos Santos has lost his goal, unfortunately. And Amaya got sent off when we simmed it, which meant he was missing from the Real Madrid game. But I'd simmed it so many times trying to get an accurate score that I just thought that'll do. But Real Madrid now, at home, after the result we had against Barcelona, I actually had a bit of hope in this game. There's the league table. You can see how close it is. Not many points between sort of 4th to 6th at all. But yeah, you saw in the live com, we beat Barcelona 1-0 at home. And up to this point, we still hadn't even lost at home. Actually, our home record has been really, really good, and that's what's been keeping us in that hunt for the top 4, because we're drawing quite a few away. But at home, we're pretty strong this season. And like I say, after we beat Barcelona 1-0, I had a lot of faith, but Real Madrid are just a different animal altogether compared to Barcelona. I said against Barcelona, when they get it down the wing, they're very hesitant to cross it in. They've got no big man, so they're a bit easier to deal with in that regard, despite the fact they've got quality players like Messi, Neymar, those kind of players. But once again, similar to Barcelona, they do rest a few people, Real Madrid do, but unfortunately Bale or Ronaldo weren't two of the players that they rested. But they came out really quickly at the box, Real Madrid, and they were all over us for the first 20 minutes. And on our first real breakaway, get a shot away which is blocked, win the corner, and we actually score the corner. So we go 1-0 up against Real Madrid, and I was thinking, come on, we can do this again. Another really big result with how close the table is as well. I was thinking this is the kind of win that perhaps the other teams wouldn't expect us to get, so it'd be like a bonus 3 points more than anything, because before these games, if we can get a point against Real Madrid, I'm really happy. It's a fantastic result to get a point. But despite the fact they started off really well, when we scored, we managed to get a lot of momentum, and we got lots of chances after that. Actually, we went into a really dominant spell of the game here, and we skipped forward to the 40th minute with Cedric having a good effort, which Casillas tipped wide. And you can see from the half-time stats, I say they were dominant. They were very dominant in possession, but they'd only actually had one shot. We'd had far more than that. We'd had 3 at half-time, and we keep on tallying them up here. Some decent saves from Casillas, nothing too extraordinary, but then look at this for a tackle. Ronaldo on the break from our corner, Cedric doing some dirt to it, getting back, and that is the kind of thing we like to see. Fantastic tackle on Ronaldo there, but then disaster strikes. Modric gets it down the line, does well to stay on his feet there, but they win a penalty for this. this stupid game sometimes. I don't know what the players even do in its video. It looks like he slaps Ronaldo around the face. You'll see here. It's absolutely ridiculous. All my good defending completely undone by this. Penalty given away. 83rd minute I think it is as well. So really close to the end. I was absolutely gutted. Like I say, before the game I would have taken a draw, and at the time before the game, if someone would have offered me a draw, I'd have snapped the hand off for it. But the way we played, we defended so well, and we'd been so dominant as well. Real Madrid had hardly done anything at all, and then they came into it there with that penalty to make it 1-1, and that's how it finished. You can see from the stats there, we were so hard done to by that. But we have to get over that, and we're going to move on to the player of the episode now. Our first one, so this is going to be the general layout of how I'm going to do this. This episode's player of the episode is going to be Paulo. We did pretty well at centre-back. Did well to keep Real Madrid pretty quiet in that game, and he had a solid game against Osasuna as well. But if you look at the games we played in this episode, we've not actually got a win, but thankfully a couple of the games were in the Cup, so wasn't too much of a big deal. He played 3, scored 1, got a rating of 7.7. Like I said, key games against Real Madrid, and the other two standout players were probably Adan and Dos Santos for his nice volley that he got in the Sociedad game. But that's going to be the end of this episode. I'll just show you the league table in a second now. You'll see it's got very close again. Real Sociedad are now in 5th, I believe, and we have jumped up to 4th for the first time. We're actually in that European spot. There we go, it's just popped up there. We're actually in the Champions League spot now, but obviously, as you can see there, I've got a game in hand over us, so that just depends on how that goes as to whether we'll stay there or not. But hopefully we can keep our run going. We've not been in too bad in the leagues. And once again, thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like, comment and subscribe, and I shall see you again next time. Nidge out.